Cool. Hi, this is Gina Versa. I'm at Long Beach Comic Con with the Waffle Press podcast, and I'm here with Chris Strompolos, the star and co-producer of Raiders, the fan film. And it was a Chris, how would you describe the film?
It's a shot-for-shot remake of the classic Spielberg movie, Raiders of the Lost Ark, and it's accompanied by Raiders, the Story of the Greatest Fan Film, which is a documentary produced and directed by Jeremy Kuhn and Ten Skousen, released in June by Draft House Films. And we have a book out by Alan Eisenstock, and that's the story.
It's also on Netflix, correct?
Correct, yes. Yeah, it just launched on Netflix a couple of days ago.
So Chris, I love the documentary, I love the book. How cool is it to have people like fans of Raiders and everyone know about this kind of secret fan film that Eli Roth found in someone's videotape collection, and it exploded, everyone started spreading it around. How does that feel?
Well, Eli got the copy from an old roommate of Eric's, and that was that's how he got a hold of it. But yes, it was an old beaten VHS tape. I think it's sort of we never thought that it would get as far as it has. It's very flattering and very inspiring for us to have other people who are Indiana Jones fans and Raiders fans to approach us and let us know how our movie has inspired them in return, and so it's nice to have that sort of fan recognition. It's cool.
Right. Is it weird, fans knowing your life story, or?
Well, that's a decision that you make when you start to tell your story. I mean, when the book was being done and the documentary was being done, you can't tell a story about yourself unless you're honest, and I think that's where a lot of people take a wrong turn. They want it all they want to gloss it over with rainbows and sweetness and leave out all the stuff that makes us human. And I think that is, along with the spine of the story, which is the friendship between Eric and I, all the dark and gritty stuff that makes us people. Right. It resonates, and I think that has a universal quality to it.
So Chris, I was here yesterday and I overheard a fan talking about his own fan film. I think it was a Star Wars fan film, and he sounded really inspired by the Raiders fan film you guys made. How cool is that to have to inspire people to make their own fan films or their own shorts or stuff like that?
Well, I think there is a kindred spiritedness that binds us all together in the world of fandom. The world of fandom has changed a lot, but I think there is a core sort of emotional thing that draws us to subject matter and wants us, we want to inhabit that world, we want to explore it, we want to live vicariously through other people and have those adventures and have those experiences and embody the role of a character that we feel that we might not otherwise be able to do ourselves. And I think that's the exciting way that people kind of go on the journey of fandom. It has different nuances, but yeah, sure. I mean, when I meet people that are fans of whatever, Star Wars or anime or whatever it is, it's cool to see how they manifest that in their lives, because fandom takes on different roles. And certainly in the last handful of years, I think it's a fascinating, I won't say mutation, but it's a fascinating sort of hybrid, the way that different subjects and different characters have blended together. Mm-hmm. People will come as I'm a Donald Duck Stormtrooper, right, or I'm a Mickey Mouse Yoda, or I mean, what I'm saying? It's sort of this collision of fandom that's certainly interesting. But how does it make me feel? It's cool. It's cool to be a part of it.
Very cool. I think it was called crossplay, is when they combined the two.
Gotcha.
Very cool.
Crossplay, is that what they're? Is that?
Yeah, I think.
Because I haven't ever had. I haven't even ever heard what the term was.
Yeah. Okay, so it was 8 years of filming, the fan film. Well, I remember, you guys talk about, building the boulder. doing the what's the chase with the arc in the
The
truck.
truck scene.
Yeah. What was your favorite memory in the 8 years?
In the first sort of stint when we
Yeah.
were children, earliest memories. I think that there are scenes that we're proud of. The truck scene is great. That's one of the scenes that we're really, really proud of. And of course, as of late, the plane scene. I mean, that was definitely an exciting, grueling adventure.
Came out really great. When you guys refilmed and everything, and it was like really close. It was like felt like almost exactly like Raiders, the fight with I forgot the name of the stuntman.
Pat Roach.
Pat Roach, yeah. It was awesome. So Chris, playing Indiana, what's your favorite Indiana Jones line that you got to do, or one from another film that you would want to say?
I love the script and the lines. I mean, I've had the good fortune of being able to wear the hat and the jacket and walk in the steps of Harrison in Raiders, and that was very exciting. I think one of the things I sort of took away from it is all the physicality. Harrison
Right.
is a very physical actor.
Yeah.
And definitely that is not easy. What he does, it's really not easy, and it's I came away with being very impressed with that. As far as dialogue, my favorite lines, I think the greatest little stint of dialogue is in the Cairo bar where Belloc and Indy are in a heated sort of quieted argument, and that's a good bit of dialogue. And then when Indy is about to go on his journey, so and Marcus Brody comes, and so those two scenes, I think the dialogue is really great. I mean, the dialogue throughout the whole movie is just dynamite.
Yeah.
It's the bar scene when Marion sees him again, and it's
Gives him a right cross across the chin.
yes, indeed. Yeah, it's a lightning in a bottle film that always holds up.
Right. So Chris, do you have any thoughts? After Raiders, there were it's Temple of Doom, Last Crusade, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and now there's going to be you said two other movies.
I think they're going to do 2 other movies. I know about 5. That one's in development, but they probably are going to shoot 2 at the same time. I mean, that's the sort of studio think. I would think that would probably be the best way to monetize on the whole situation, because Harrison's getting older, and that doesn't mean. I mean, he's in great, amazing shape.
Yeah.
For
he came back as Han Solo too.
Yeah, absolutely. So, he's still he's not the Harrison that we once knew. He's not the energetic 30-something, but he's still just as charismatic as ever.
Right.
So,
Not the same Harrison.
oh, Harrison, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
he's not in his 30s anymore,
Right.
but he's still as charismatic as ever.
I would say that kind of goes with the character, because in like Raiders and like the original film, like he's always getting hurt, he's always getting like banged up, like he's always like a vulnerable character.
I met a guy yesterday
Uh-huh.
that was there when Harrison's plane crashed.
Really, in the golf course?
Yeah, in the golf course.
Was he at the golf playing 10 rounds?
Yeah, I don't know what he was doing. He goes, the plane went down, and I was there, and I helped him pick up some pieces and get him to the hospital. It was just a normal dude. That was pretty funny.
Right.
But it does go along with Harrison's sort of amazing legacy in Hollywood. And as far as enjoying the films, I enjoy the movies in sequential order as they came out.
Right. Speaking about Harrison, in an interview you talked about kind of like his characters, like Indiana Jones or like Han Solo, being these for like children in the 80s, like or like divorced kids of children of like divorced families. This kind of weird like father figure, like male to look up to. Can you elaborate on that? I guess?
Sure, of course. I mean, I think that in telling our story and going deeper, you have to, and no pun intended, you have to sort of excavate yourself, and emotionally sort of untie all the things that we as adults typically sort of repress. I think a lot of people do that. And I think the biggest question to answer is like, well, why did you guys do Raiders? Why did you do this film? Why did you want to play Indiana Jones? Why did you do all this? And you try to figure out the answers. Why?
Right.
And in an emotional context, back to what we were saying about being a fan, is that playing certain characters gives you a certain sense of satisfaction. And because I grew up without really sort of a solid male figure in my life, you look to certain qualities in a world that is larger than yourself, and a hero that embodies qualities that you don't necessarily have a full understanding of, and certainly don't have yourself. And the character of Indiana Jones, though it's a made-up character, it was so fantastically larger than life, but accessible. It filled in a lot of gaps, I think, in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
It gives you permission to be that confident, macho, self-driving, purposeful, heroic character that's physical and brave and courageous and all these things that put a lift in your step as a young boy, and that as a chubby, nerdy kid, being raised by a single mother, you don't necessarily have cognizance of that.
Yeah. And in some ways, fictional characters, they help out a lot of people. They inspire them. They're, in a way, they're, they do, a lot in the world. In a way, they're real, wouldn't you say?
Of course. I mean, I think, and that's the beautiful thing, is that they become real to certain people because it emotionally transfixes you, and it can emotionally support you. It gives you a sense of blissful joy, or helpful information, or hope, or an interest, a focus. It gives you confidence, and those are strong qualities to have. I think that the definition of fandom can change depending on how your reality shifts. I mean, if somebody brings a comic book character or a cinematic hero into their lives, and it changes them so profoundly to the point where their reality is no longer their reality, then I'm not sure that it's entirely beneficial. Obsession has definition.
Right.
So, there's parameters, I think.
Okay. And one last question for you, Chris. The Raiders fan film, was it? I was just curious. Is there any other fan film that predates it? Because
Yeah, there's. It's funny that a lot of people have considered us sort of like the grandfathers of the fan film, and I don't think there's been any fan films that have been shot on the scope that ours has, but we are definitely not the first. I mean, I had an amazing experience in Connecticut. This elderly gentleman approached me well into his 80s, and he handed me a DVD of old 8 or 16 millimeter movies that he had digitized and put onto DVD of him and his brother in their backyard in the 1930s doing fan movies of Tarzan.
Wow.
And there's a book by Clive Young that documents the history of fan movies, and there are movies that even go earlier than that can be traced back to early cuts of Little Rascals and things like that. And so, no, we are definitely not the first. We have just kind of become a little more well known than most.
Definitely. So cool. Thank you so much, Chris, for your time. the film, you could buy it online. Where can we find you guys at?
Go to www.raidersguys.com. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter as Raiders Guys or The Raiders Guys on Facebook. On our website, you can pick up copies of the Blu-ray, the DVD of the fan film, the book, T-shirts, storyboards. We're currently on a national tour, and so that merch helps support the tour and help our sort of like, what we're doing, touring and stuff like that. And then, of course, it was just released on Netflix, so there's plenty of ways to see it.
Gotcha. And we're signing off from Long Beach Comic Con.
Cool. Thanks so much.